Help me grow fast or slow, as long as I know you're digging for gold. Help me learn soft or stern, as long as I know you're digging for gold. Life's a movie, the ultimate trip. You should have been told you'd be digging for gold. Hello, my friends. Once again, it's Dan Goldberg. You remember me. And Digging for Gold, our podcast. Don't forget, like our episodes and subscribe. And to get to all our episodes, just go to dangoldberg.com, click on the icons at the bottom of the page, at the home page on the website, and join us every episode. I'm looking forward to hearing your comments as well, seeing your comments, and addressing them too. Today, we have another very special guest. Not only a friend, but a former student of mine from years ago, Anh Pham. Hi, Anh. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well, Professor.
Great.
It is my honor to be here, seeing you again, and really excited to talk about, the entrepreneurship passion, the inspiration that you really put into my life and my, career and also, academic achievement. So
It's very kind.
yeah.
Years ago, I was the lead faculty member and was hired at Penn State Abington to start up, along with Gary Kalur, who was my, I guess you could say is my boss, actually, in this. It was the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Inter-College Minor, and Gary headed up all the inter-college minors. And we started it here at Abington. I was hired to do that. And Anh was a student of ours in that program, and that's great. And now she is an entrepreneur. She's had a very interesting journey. She has a company called Katch, Katch. Okay, so why don't you tell us about your journey?
Sure. So, well, more than a decade ago, I attended Professor Goldberg class in, entrepreneurship. And to be honest, it was just a class that I was thinking, I was a business major. I just had to get, some credit in. And neither did I know I left that class with such an inspiration. Like you forever changed my mind
Thank you. That's
about
very
how I
kind.
think about business, right? Like it's not necessary about just, profit and loss. It's all about innovation, right?
Correct.
Whenever we see there is a gap within, business, then there got to be a solution. And whenever there's a solution for that, you always taught us, that's an opportunity to
Yes.
monetize it. And that forever changed my perspective, and I decided to pursue that, NT minor. And I don't know if you remember that. You were the first person that referred me for my first role. That was my first internship at Mount Airy. You were that person. And and through learning, discovering myself, even got a graduate certificate in entrepreneurship at my MBA program at Penn State.
Wow, that's great.
I hold on to that knowledge. Even when, I started my career kind of, working for that Mount Airy, becoming a project program manager, working in technology, eventually become a leader. I was a director at one of the Fortune 100 corporation for automation and program management, and all of the skills that I learned is how do we solve a business problem through technology, and then with the the booming of AI, right? Recently in I would say 2021, 2022, we are seeing the power of generative AI and all of that. And on a side, I always had a linguistic background. I speak English as a second language. And in my free time, I have my community to really interpret, or, translate, getting the message across. And one day, at one of the contracts that I was working at, they were talking about, so could you imagine, like, if a person that doesn't speak English, they would go into a hospital or bank, trying to communicate with the hospital or bank, then they have to call, it's called language line. The language line would call the interpreter in that language and have them on the line to translate between, them and the banker or the doctor. And obviously, it's not very efficient to be running a business on that scale because you have like 200 languages at least, right? And you don't know when that person gonna come to the door. However, 20 to 21% of American population speak another language at home. So there's that untapped market, but it's very complex to solve.
It is very complex, but innovation can
Of
figure
course,
it out.
yes.
It's interesting you should bring that up because I had a sort of a major operation in Istanbul, in Turkey.
Sure.
And the doctor spoke English
Yeah.
fluently. But the staff, some of the other doctors did, the anesthesiologist, the surgeon, and so forth. But a lot of the staff didn't. So they had to bring in an interpreter.
Yeah.
They had to bring in a fellow, I'll never forget, he was from Syria, actually, and he spoke English. And he was the one that was always with me. So it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, yeah. And, that business case had always existed. But a lot of people don't know about that. And they don't know about the challenges in, communication barriers. And it was personal for me because, unfortunately, my last role was restructured, eliminated due to, the current economic landscape, right? So there's, it is kind of normalized now.
Right.
And seeing that I have that passion in language, seeing that I have that background in technology management, and I happen to know, a couple of pretty good engineer, somebody who can really, understand the technical, algorithm and all of that in AI and machine learning. So we put our minds together, put up, that deck that you taught me back in the day.
Wow.
What is your, advantage, selling point? What is, the pro and cons? And what could you bring into the business? What is the break-even point and all of that? And and we were able to convince, a couple of clients. And now, I'm running my own consulting company. And it all thanks to you, all of the lectures in how to form a business, how to register a trademark, how to create, patents, how to, legalize, going through all of the tax. I was able to do it all by myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
And thank you for your kind words.
Of course.
It's a pleasure to hear that because I think from most professors' standpoints, and I'm an entrepreneur anyway.
Of course.
And this podcast just tells you that. But most professors, when they hear those things, they know they've made a difference. A difference, in someone's life.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing to know. It really is. So tell me, what's Katch doing now?
Yeah, so what we are doing now is, in technology, like software development management, there are two parts of it, right? There is the kind of like the business management, the consulting part.
Right.
Usually, a company would go out and find ecosystem integrator partners. So either the technical developer, like a team that come in and implement that solution, or the consulting that kind of like, teach them or advise them on how to, manage that program from end-to-end standpoint.
Right.
Like how do you manage, like that development of that features or, development of that whole entire end-to-end program. Like how is it running? What is the status of it? What is the milestone? What is, the reporting? So we handle the, the business perspective, if that makes sense.
So let's say someone comes in, and I know you speak Vietnamese.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that's your first language.
Yes.
Correct?
Yep.
So let's say they're at a hospital in Philly or Las Vegas or Los Angeles.
Sure.
And someone comes in who's not fluent in English.
Yeah.
But is fluent in Vietnamese.
Yeah.
Or any other language.
Sure.
Right? What do you do to help that hospital, that surgeon, that doctor, whomever they are, interact with that patient, do surgery with that patient, give them a consultation? What is it that Katch does to help them?
Yeah. So traditionally, I just wanted to give some context before Katch, right?
Yeah.
Company had always had their interpreters, right? And obviously they had a database. Think about Google Translate, but it had to be internal because, you know, there HIPAA regulation, there's a lot of things that you cannot have it on, you know, the open, like ChatGPT type of thing, right? It has to be very catered and industry specialized, like specific and focused. So the company already own that type of internal Google Translate. What Katch does is trying to train it to understand more of the, you know, idioms and more of the, like natural language processing, like.
Yes, those idiomatic expressions.
Yes. That's the part of AI, right?
Right, because most people that are listening to a language, right? Let's say it's an English speaker, and they're listening to someone from Vietnam or France or Colombia or wherever, and they may understand the basics of it, but the idiomatic expressions, they don't.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
So it's those things like in English, people say, well, right? Because they're trying to think of things. And what does that mean to another person who's standing on the other side and is a speaker from Finland? And they go, what is like, what does that mean?
Of course,
right?
yeah.
And if you think about it, nobody has addressed that, right?
Yeah.
Nobody addresses idiomatic expressions on a consistent basis.
Of course.
And that's what you're helping people do.
Yeah. So to the system, right? Like obviously a human can tell if I'm saying, Professor, I'm feeling blue. You got to understand that means honestly feeling sad. Right? So
but only in English.
Yeah. So if it is like a dictionary, or if it, you know, kind of like Google Translate without the, you know, artificial intelligence part, like the deep learning and all of that natural language processing component of it, then it could be translated at on blue at the color to another language, right? Because they
like my face is blue. Right, Alex? Is my face blue?
Not from here.
No, the other side of the camera. My face is not blue. Okay. But that's so interesting.
Yeah, because language is two-part, right?
Right.
It's not just meaning. It's not just the literal part.
Right.
It is context, right? It is the tone. It is the, you know, idioms. It is a lot. That's a, you know, hidden, right? That require human intelligence to really interpret that.
So is Vietnamese a tonal language like Chinese?
Yes.
Chinese is a tonal language.
Yeah.
You could say the same thing, the same words with a different tone, and it means something different.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Like it's sort of like, I'll make peace with that piece of pizza. It's like I'm not going to eat it. I'm making peace with that. I'm not having it.
Yeah.
Okay. But the word peace, and that may be an outlandish idea that I just had, but that's something that's idiomatic.
Of course. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So people are saying, what do you mean you make peace with a piece?
Yeah. Yeah. Like before, if you're trying to translate it, can you imagine if you open a dictionary? It doesn't make any sense, right? It's just going to be like, I'm making peace with a pizza now? Like, what do you mean you're handshaking with a pizza? Right? It doesn't make sense. But the actual meaning is supposed to be like, okay, I'm not eating it, basically. I will put it up for later.
I'm making peace with myself. I'm not having that piece of pizza.
But that understanding, you know, usually require a human intelligence to do that.
So that's the kind of stuff you're doing.
Yeah. Training them to, you know.
How cool is that? Boy, that is a heavy-duty thing.
It is a lot, yeah. I mean, you know, it's not going to be done in a day, right? Like, nobody can be wrong. That's another idiom, in a day. But, you know, that's our work, right? To come in and batter it up day by day.
Yes, and there are so many languages.
How
many languages? 2,000 languages?
Yeah.
There are languages that are dying that people still speak.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
So maybe it will help keep languages alive in a way, in a weird way. And so they won't die off, because you can say, well, I can go into the hospital and the doctor will know how to relate to me in my language.
Of course, yeah. And you know, with these hard conversations like that, and that's why an interpreter comes in, right? Like, let's say somebody diagnosed with cancer. You don't want to tell them that black and white.
Right.
You're going to use a lot of idioms.
You are.
Right? Like,
Correct.
it's kind of like, oh, I'm being a little positive here. You know, we're not expecting the worst case scenario, or, you know, or well done, you know, the treatment is better. These are all of the human, you know, intelligence trying to understand that. Well, they're comforting me too. That hint within, you know, the unspoken part of language.
You know, as you're talking, it's funny because we've had people on discussing AI.
Sure.
And one of the things that AI, interestingly enough, may not be able to completely replace is empathy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Soft skills.
Yep.
Human interaction.
I agree.
And being good at that, being able to make people feel at ease and calm, especially in situations of distress, is a major deal.
Of course, yeah.
And that's where language comes in.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm thinking of it as it could address majority of the scenario, but for hard conversation like that, you still need an interpreter. You know, you still need it to be broken down to you in a humane way, right? In a way where, you know, where you can feel like, well, my emotion and acknowledge, and I can respond to these questions to a human, rather than you know being broke the news by you know like a machine translator.
Right. Correct.
Yep.
So, let's say somebody does have a disease that could be terminal.
Sure.
We don't know anymore. I mean, you may think you have, like we had a guest on that had stage 4 cancer, and he lived through it. Okay, brain cancer, no less. So your programs, okay, if that's the proper term, okay, will help the doctor mitigate the fear to some degree. But there may also come to a point where they'll need a human interpreter.
Yep, of course.
So you can do both.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to offer them in 3 product tiers. So the first one is kind of like, you know, your dictionary, raw translation, like, you know, my face blue. I'm feeling blue. That's, you know, that literal translation. And the second one would be, you know, within context. Like if the subject, I am blue, she is blue, things like that, then you're supposed to translate it as, I'm not feeling well.
Right.
And then the third part is, you know, the end-to-end hybrid flow, where there is a human in that flow to, you know, monitor it, making sure that that is accurate. And obviously, you know, machine translation gonna uplift a lot of human relying on the terminology, the knowledge, you know, the just memorization. But the deliver part has to come from a human.
Right.
And that would be, you know, our kind of, you know, a premier product selling point, right? To like HIPAA, all of that, because they're not going to be able to, you know, like take a machine translator to really communicate within the medical.
That's very interesting because, and you can provide all those things, right?
Yeah,
you can provide the interpreters. So you have to have people.
We have to contract, and we partner with language company.
Oh, okay.
So they have
bring
that.
In
Yep.
But you brought up an interesting point. That's HIPAA.
Yeah.
So does the interpreter, the human interpreter, have to
be a certified HIPAA.
Be certified as a HIPAA interpreter,
exactly,
who will not say anything to anybody after they walk out those hospital doors, or they can lose their license.
So they have rules and regulation in place where an interpreter, every single session that they done interpretation, they have to get rid of the notes, and it is required that they cannot really write out these notes using pen and paper. Unless you have a shredder, but then again, you know, like how sure are you about you know, shredding documentation and all of that? So they usually use like, you know, one of these almost like when we were kids and we were using them as a toy.
Right.
It's one of these boards that is, wipeable right after the session. Yep.
Wow.
And all of that has to be, confidential.
Yeah.
So, because, like people share a lot of things with their doctor, right? They confirm their day of birth,
Right.
They even, confirm their payment for the hospital, billing department. They talk about a lot of things with their social worker, including social security number. So all of these, security and compliance, you can't handle that to a pure machine workflow.
So, man, there's a lot of regulations, right, Alex?
What is there an equivalent military product? Like, what does the Department of Defense do? It's kind of similar security regulations.
I'm not really familiar with the military. I'm sure they do have their, whatever process in place. But right now we're just trying to target, either the,
Hospitals.
banks, hospital, all of that. But yeah, I'm sure they probably does have
But
regulation.
to Alex's point, would you work? Well, I don't know, in the VA hospitals, okay, the Veterans Administration, but most of the people that are in a VA hospital speak English because they were in the U.S. military. So I think that unless they were supporting the military, and I don't know if this is true, I should know as someone that was in the military, but unless they are given military privileges because they worked with the military when they were overseas, in Vietnam or in Iraq or wherever.
Yeah.
In Europe during the Second World War. So that's an interesting point. But we are now in 2025. If you're watching this in 2030, you'll know 5 years have passed since we put this together, right? 2030.
Yeah.
Let's hope that I haven't passed by then, but that's a different story. As we move forward, you are sort of leading a charge because people don't really realize that when you go into the hospital, I'm just thinking about my own situations and with my grandparents who my grandfather he didn't have an accent at all, but my grandmother did. And she spoke Yiddish, which is sort of we're trying to keep that language alive. But when she was in the hospital, if somebody wasn't with her and a doctor was saying something that she didn't understand, who was there to interpret it for her? And so in a way, this works in two directions, right?
Yeah. Keeping cultures.
Yeah. The doctor, the surgeon, the whoever has to understand what this person from, I don't know, wherever, Haiti, that speaks French, almost Creole, right? What they're saying, but the patient has to understand what the doctor's saying.
Yeah.
You mean not everyone understands what schmaltz on your tuchus means?
No, not everyone does understand what schmaltz on your tuchus means, but I do. Okay. So it actually means schmaltz is
it's chicken fat, but it can also just mean whatever.
Schmaltzy.
Yeah.
If you're schmaltzy, you're like a good person, but there's something good about you. But schmaltz is chicken fat on your behind.
Wow.
So it's schmaltz on your tuchus.
Wow.
That's what it means. That's what it means. Very good, Alex. I didn't know you spoke Yiddish, but you do. And
there you go. Now it's not gonna,
yeah.
So
we learned something about Alex back there behind the camera. But it is interesting that now, how does the patient take advantage of the service without a person there?
Well, we don't have that use case yet. Majority of it is being catered to the interpreters at a tool, right? To help them out first.
That makes sense.
And obviously, banks can utilize it as, over the phone prompt, like IVR, right? So when you call, like, a 1-800 numbers, and they would be like, oh, hey, would you like to, pay your bills, look at your balance, all of that. And obviously that is AI too. And the voice prompt can guide you doing that, right? But it's not in another language. And you know how difficult it is. My parents do not speak English at all. Like they can communicate on a basic, but if it comes to like, where's my bill? Why am I being overcharged? Like, like I'm trying to pay my bills and I don't have the time to call somebody. I'm just trying to input the car number and all of that,
Oh, wait. I just thought of something as you're talking.
Yeah.
And let's say they're calling this 800 number to this ABC bank.
Sure.
And they want to find out their balance, or the what do you call it? The AI says, would you like your balance? Would you like your this? Would you like? If they could say a word, please say yes in your language, or somehow say something to prompt the person on the client or a patient on the other side to say something in Vietnamese.
Sure.
Or Cambodian, or Chinese, or French, or whatever. And that one word sets that whole thing in motion.
Sure.
So now it's spoken, the whole thing is spoken in French.
Wow, you just gave me another business idea.
There we go. Okay. We will catch that.
Yeah.
But if you think about that, that opens
whole new
a
territory.
whole new for every kind of business.
Yeah.
Like what you talking about, banks.
Yeah.
When we were just talking about banks.
Yeah.
Then the person on the other side of the desk will just say, "Speak through this. You can speak to me through this. What do you call it? This app."
Yeah.
And it will just translate everything, including your idiomatic expressions.
Sure. Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, it's probably going to take a couple of years, to have all of the languages pairs to be, integrated. But I know that they're offering them in Spanish, as you
They
know,
are.
like, like it's always option 2, for like.
Option 2 is Spanish, because it's basically our second language here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But there are so many other languages that are spoken.
Of course. Yeah.
So many other.
Yeah.
And you just go to certain sections of the city.
Yeah.
Like if you go to 11th and Washington, there's a whole, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah,
in Philly,
Vietnamese, Italian.
Well, 11th and Washington is a lot of Vietnamese
Mm-hmm.
markets and supermarkets.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
and at 9th Street was the Italian market. And, people get inculcated into and assimilated into the culture here in the United States. But it takes a generation at least.
To learn.
A lot of time.
Yeah. To adapt.
And in the meantime, what happens to all those people that come over here?
Yeah. And, like 21%, because when we, did the sales pitch, right? 21% of Americans, like people that live in America,
right?
That speak another language at home.
Yeah.
So think about it, random 5 people, you have one person that
speaks
not really
another language at home.
Yeah, or more fluent in their native language compared to English.
Yeah.
So can you imagine like the business untapped market, right? Like they need banking.
Wow.
Right? They need internet. They need to pay their phone bills. They need to live. Right? They need all these type of services. Healthcare. They need to call 911. They need to purchase insurance.
Sure. They need to buy food.
Yeah.
They need to buy food. They need to do. This is very interesting. We could go down this road and open up all kinds of opportunities.
Yeah, use case, like there's so many. Like when we kind of took a look at all of the use case, right? We were seeing, well, besides medical, right, banking, insurance company, federal government. And by the way, I know the medical for the federal government interpreter, they need to have like a public trust background in order to do that job. So that takes a long time to become an interpreter for the federal government too.
Yeah, because you could be dealing with highly sensitive.
Of course, information from if you're applying for government assistance, right? There's a lot of biographics, there family history, there all type of things that they ask for, and all of these information gotta be confidential. Can you imagine calling Social Security administration and got your social security number leaked by,
Yeah.
by somebody who are not able to handle, classified information. So, yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And we don't even look, even English when it first came over was a foreign language.
Sure.
It was, I remember years ago, I read or saw something where a guy was standing in line. This may have been a made up thing, but was standing in line at a supermarket, and the people in front of him were speaking another language. And the guy got annoyed, and he said, "Why don't you speak English? Why don't you go back to where you came from?"
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And the woman said to the guy, "I'm speaking Navajo. Why don't you go back to where you came from?"
Of course. Yeah.
Right? We don't even think of Navajo, okay? But there's a whole bunch of people that speak Navajo.
Yeah.
They speak a Native American language. And that always stuck with me, that we were originally the language that took over
Another
from people
language,
who spoke another language.
Yeah.
And even though everybody speaks English now, that was like, yes, that woman was correct. She was speaking to her friend in Navajo, and that guy was trying to put her down, and here the whole time she's speaking one of the original languages.
Yeah.
So and my point is that there are so many people that speak so many languages, as you said, and even if they don't speak it at home, in their home, okay, they may speak it at their parents' home.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because and I know that's the case in my family.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So and even though there are people that speak English, a first generation that come over here, they may not speak English to the point where a native English speaker speaks it.
Yeah, yeah.
So, it becomes a little bit of a hindrance for them. Why not make it easy?
Yeah, for everyone. And I don't think language barrier should be a barrier, right?
Shouldn't.
It should just be how people trying to communicate with one another, and obviously it takes a lifetime. I learned English when I was 7 years old, Professor.
Wow.
And you can tell I still have an accent. Sometimes I have to repeat myself.
Yeah.
Because our muscle memory, right, is so used to that. When I learn Vietnamese, and as you know, it is a tonal language.
Yes.
So I use a lot of the nasal passage, and all of that. When English is more like pronunciation, yes, and then I kind of maneuver over pronunciation, you gotta CH on, but you gotta roll it all together, right?
Yes. It's very interesting because English is a lot like German.
Yeah.
Actually. So when we go to Germany, and I grew up in a household where they spoke a second language, which is Yiddish, which is like German. And but if you listen to the German language, you can see the similarities to Yiddish and to English. So it's more guttural than if that's the proper term. I mean, I'm not a linguist, but there are languages that aren't, as you said.
Yeah.
They're tonal, as we said earlier in the podcast. And for people to learn that, especially native English speakers, is difficult because they're not used to the ch.
Of course, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I don't know, it's beshecht. Like when I say it's beshecht, in Yiddish it means it was meant to be. But some people have a hard time doing the ch. Okay?
Yeah.
The ch, so they say beshecht. Or it's not right, it's off.
Yeah.
But you know the difference, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's those little catchphrases, those little sounds that most people don't pick up.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're the surgeon or you're the banker.
Yeah.
they don't pick that up. So it's like
They don't understand it.
they don't understand.
Yeah.
It.
Yeah.
They don't understand. So they'll say, "Can you repeat that?" And they still don't understand it.
Yeah.
And then they don't want to feel embarrassed or make you feel embarrassed.
By asking me to repeat.
Right.
And now you have a language barrier.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
So it's my wife and I talk about this a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's interesting.
Yeah.
Dan, ever hear the word Hebrew shibboleth?
Hebrew shibboleth?
The Hebrew word shibboleth, that's what that means. It means something that only a native speaker pronounces correctly.
Wow.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
How do you know that, Alex?
A little bit of Jewish heritage, mostly just good at absorbing information.
Yes, that's very good. Shibboleth.
Mm-hmm.
Shibboleth?
You can probably pronounce it better. I never went to Hebrew school or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shibboleth. Yes.
Yeah. Like simple words that you have no idea. It took me, I think, months to pronounce squirrel.
Squirrel?
Yeah, squirrel. It's so much like, to me, it's very English in a way that you roll everything together with a K, a U, a QU, right? Squirrel, and then an R. Like that
Squirrel.
in my language is absurd. Like
Really?
Vietnamese is very, like tonal, right?
Yes.
It's all about the pitch instead of trying to roll everything together. It's all about the rhythm, right? And
this is fascinating.
yeah, and
When my son was a little boy,
Yeah.
he would say squibble, squibble
yeah,
for squirrel.
yeah.
Yeah, and I always thought that was so cute, but it's one of those
It
words.
is very like difficult, and people don't realize that, like coming from another language and background, because, it's almost like it's my muscle memory, like
Yeah.
my tongue shape in the, in that specific
Yes.
position to be pronouncing Vietnamese, because I'm so used to that, and I'm so ready to, to get that pitch instead of trying to roll all of the K, Q, U, and R all in together.
The rolling R,
Yeah.
squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Squirrel.
Yeah, squirrel. Languages, now that we're on that, and that's your business now.
Sure.
I mean, you've worked for some pretty big companies, correct?
Yeah.
And it morphed into this, which will be hopefully a pretty big company soon. Okay, because I really think people need that, and when they can communicate with each other and break that barrier down. I know that when I travel, I like to learn at least a couple sentences in the native language where
Sure.
I'm going,
Sure.
whether it's French or Turkey or Spain or a Latin American country or whatever, Germany, even Chinese, even Vietnamese.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah, of course.
Just so that the people on the other side of the desk feel comfortable that I'm trying.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
But I've been doing this for years. When you're older already, it's that much harder because the muscle memory is in there.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard
Hard thing to fight. Yeah.
to fight. Yeah. So even the rolling R's, the things that we take, not I would say advantage of, but we take as normal to somebody else is not normal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I never thought of the word squirrel being
Difficult. Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah. And you won't believe it. Like after I, kind of started the company, I spoke with linguists. That is one of the most common words that other people, coming from another country, had a hard time to pronounce. Squirrel. Yeah.
Squirrel.
Yeah.
Well, are there squirrels in Vietnam?
Yeah, they are, but it's
What are
very
they-
simple. It's just called
What do they call them?
sock. Like you gotta go up. It's
Sop?
Sock. Almost
Sock?
like your socks without a
Sock.
K. Yeah, and you have to
Sock.
go up. Yeah.
Sop.
Yeah. So it's
So-
so much more simpler. I mean,
It
to
is.
me.
It is.
Yeah, because I'm a native speaker, so yeah.
So we've really covered basics of what you want to do.
Sure.
But I want to know more of what's your vision. You have told us your value proposition, basically.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
And maybe I can expand a little on that, because if people use your company, it's almost evident that they're going to expand their market. They're going to expand their market in healthcare. They're going to expand their market in law. They're going to expand their market in all kinds of businesses if they use your business.
Sure.
Right? And before I forget, do you have a website?
I do.
Okay. Why don't you tell our listeners and viewers what
Sure.
it is?
Yeah, it's Katch, with a K.
Katch.
Ing. So ing. Like
Catching.
catching. Like you know how it is, like with language when
Yes.
you catch that,
Right.
right?
You're
so
catching
it's,
something.
Yeah. And you always told me, when you go into a new business, find a name that people remember.
Yeah,
Remember that?
I
Like
do,
it's
I do.
easy.
I do.
It's easy for people to remember. It is catching. It is it brings the alignment with your
Correct.
business mission and statement and all of that.
Right.
So, hey, a translation, multilingual interpreting service, Katch.
Yeah.
Did you
You're
catch
catching what the other person
Yes.
is saying.
that?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're catching what they. So
Yeah.
it's catching.com, right?
No, .org.
Oh,
Yep, yep.
ORG.
Yeah, I would love to get the .com, but the domain was taken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So catching.org.
Yep.
That's cool. Is there a way to get in touch with you? Is there
Yeah.
a phone number for the company?
Yeah. So on the website, if you go down to contact us, you can just input your information, all of that will get forwarded to our, contact team, sales team, and all of that. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
So and you can put your email address in there.
Yeah.
You can put your
Name, a
name,
message,
the whole
yep.
bit.
Yep.
This is fascinating. Now that we have a little bit more time, maybe you can teach me Vietnamese.
It's gonna be a little challenge. Like,
No, I know. I'm kidding. It's funny because I'll tell you a little secret that I have. My students, if you're listening to me, don't listen to this part, okay? Because they always ask me how many languages I speak. But what I do is, or maybe you'll understand now, I learned how to say, do you understand, in a lot of languages.
yeah.
So Albanian and Turkish and Spanish and French and a whole bunch of different languages, and I'll say that to them. Do you understand, in all those languages? And they always say, how many languages do you speak?
How many do you speak, Professor?
Well, not that many.
I think there are a lot.
No, they think I speak fluently in all those languages that I say, do you understand? But I'm just saying that so that the students can see that, I'm interested to know if they can understand, shake your head. And the other one is that I know a few other words in different languages. And if they're talking a lot and they're, I want to get their attention, I will say, do you understand that? And they'll go, oh, he speaks my language. I better not continue speaking in my language, my code, right? And they stop. It's very interesting to see that. So learn some words in other languages, folks.
Oh, I'm familiar with that. I do that too. So
You
the
do?
last one, Pennsylvania Dutch, the big Amish population,
yeah.
they speak a different archaic version of German,
Oh, wow.
but they have really good bake stands. So Danke is thank you in German, but Pennsylvania Dutch, I learned this from another podcast from a Amish guest. It's more there's like a G thing happening. So I stopped at a Jersey Amish farm stand, Columbus Market, and as I was checking out, I hit the guy with it's more like Dunga for thank you.
Ah,
Yeah.
Dunga.
And I was like, did I do it right? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can you imagine in a world where there's no barriers, right?
yeah,
And that's what that's what we aim to solve.
it is.
Yes,
it is.
if everyone could just understand each other, and instead of having an accent shouldn't be a punishment.
No.
You know what, Professor? Like after I went through that transition, right, with corporate and all of that, I had such a hard time to do interview. Because obviously, like you mentioned, people don't want to repeat it
Right.
because
right.
they afraid to
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
like
yeah.
that they being judgmental towards my
Yeah.
accent or whatever, right? And obviously, when I'm doing an interview, right, I get nervous, right? If everyone does,
Of course.
and then that mother tongue language of mine always gonna come out
Yeah.
because I get nervous, right? And I speak a little faster, and I
Right.
speak a little more tonal and all of that, and which had been such a challenge, that nobody speak about for second generation or like people that came over here, when they're in an adulting age, and that's why I'm trying to solve it, for people like myself.
It is great. That is such a great mission.
Yeah.
Your vision is so clear to try to solve that, to make it easy for people to understand each other,
Yeah.
to be able to talk to each other, and have the wherewithal to use your technology and your human interaction to make it work.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that. I love
Thank you.
speaking with people. I love that idea. I think it will help the world. And Lord knows we need help in this world.
Yeah.
So, and I think to a large degree, if people get along,
Sure.
right,
Yeah.
and don't see each other as groups, like this group is going to, and this group is trying to do this and that, but as individuals, a lot of that is, if you're communicating with me,
Sure.
you are now my friend, as
Yeah.
as opposed to that other person out there who's in that group over there. It's archaic to me. It's an archaic thought process, but it's here, and we have to deal with it. And I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Really, I would love it if everybody is catching what Anh Pham is saying and doing, and works with her to build up a world where people can talk to each other and not have to say, "Can you repeat that again? Hey, can you repeat that again? What were you saying? What was that?" Unless they have a hearing defect, but that's a whole other thing. That's for the audiologist to take care of. And if it's the audiologist, by the way, and you're in an audiology, a hearing doctor, ear, eye, ear, nose, and throat. Now it's ear, nose, and throat. And you don't understand what the doctor's saying, and you say, "Can you repeat that?" It's not because you can't hear them.
Yeah.
It's because you don't understand them.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Yeah.
So it's that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Audiology should latch on to what you're doing right away,
Sure.
because then they'll really know if the person has a hearing defect or not.
Yeah. Or is it just a misunderstanding?
A misunderstanding.
Yeah. And that's it. Like a lot of the conversations and use case that we've done, it all comes from the misunderstanding, the language barriers, the very basic that get people so frustrated.
Right.
And it makes banker job so much harder.
It does.
Sometimes when you I be right back or give me a moment, when you translate it literally, people think it's gonna be 1 second. That
Right,
that you're gonna be back.
Right.
And my language is so literal. Like, Professor, if I say I'm gonna be back in 15 minutes, that it comes with the details of of the time stamp and all of that. But sometimes they don't understand. Oh, I'll be back in a second doesn't mean in a second. It just mean I will be back.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
And I may have said this in a previous podcast, but I was in Nigeria, and I had a meeting. I had a business there, and I had a meeting with the government, and I was talking to them, and it came around. I know I discussed this before, but it came around to about 5 o'clock, and they wanted to leave. And I said to them, we all said, "Okay, I will see you Monday at the same time." that we started this meeting. Everybody shook their head, blah, 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 blah. And then I went back on Monday and nobody was there. So I called my Nigerian partner and I said, Sam, I'm here, no one's here. And he said to me, Dan, what did you tell them? I said, it was on Friday. I said, I will see you all Monday at the same time. And he said to me, did you tell them which Monday? And I said, no, because it's Friday and Monday is coming up. He said, no, Dan, you have to tell them which Monday. I learned a lesson that in that particular country, at that particular time, this was 1980, it may be different now, but back then it was, you have to be very specific.
Yeah.
And I was not specific enough. I was specific enough for here in the United States. Right?
Yeah.
But not specific enough for the folks in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of stuff we've been chatting about. It's
Yeah.
all good stuff.
Sure.
This is great. This has been wonderful.
Thank you, Professor.
If people need to get a hold of you, they go to Catching with a K,
Yep.
catching.org,
Yep.
and they can see the phone number,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They can sign up,
Send me a message. Yeah.
send you a message, and wow, here it is. Anh Pham, my former student. It has to be 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, more than
Easy, more than 10 years ago. Yes, more than 10 years ago. Time flies by. It really does.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for being
I
here.
want to thank you, Professor. I wouldn't be here without you.
Oh,
This is like,
it's my pleasure.
This is post-credit section, and I need to shout out to Professor Goldberg because I was such a shy student. I don't know if you remember. I was sitting in the back of his class.
I do remember that.
And I was so afraid to ask questions, but as everyone can imagine, Professor Goldberg is very casual, right? He's very easy to talk to. And I was just, maybe like a second year in college, and I didn't know what was business, right? What was, what were we trying to solve? What were profit and loss? What were, all of that. And then he made it so welcoming, and he made it very easy, clear to understand that at the end of the day, we're just trying to solve problems. We're just trying to solve problem with this word. And if you have an idea and you think you can exercise on it, go ahead. Have that gut and follow it through. And all of his class about patent, about trademark, how to set up your business, how to structure, governance, everything. I took that, and I still remember that. And I was
great.
like, maybe one day, I could have that chance. And I guess that's
And
today.
here we are.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you
Professor.
so much, Anh.
Yeah.
Folks, get a hold of Anh, okay? Especially if you know someone that needs her services. If you need her services, it will help your business grow. Once again, I want to thank Anh Pham. This is episode 27 of Digging for Gold. Don't forget, use your mind. If you don't, others will. We'll see you soon on Digging for Gold. Once again, thank you, Anh.
Thank you, Professor.